Hey, it's Terry with the Des Moines, Iowa user group. Own Backup sponsored our user group yesterday, and this was the first time I've seen their product in action. I've recommended it to customers many times because I've had so many customers really like their product, but it was the first time I've actually seen it in action. It's a great product. Again, recommend it to a lot of folks. Take a look at the video. I think you'll enjoy the software as well.
We are going to toss it over to Kim, our sponsor for the meeting, Own Backup. We've invited to chat about their product, so I'll kick it over to you.
All right. Geoffrey, do you want to lead off? Jeffrey's my compatriot here, and he'll
Sorry about that.
First. No problem.
No worries. Hey, guys. How are you?
Hi, Geoffrey.
Hello. How many of you guys have actually heard of Own Backup? Maybe visit us at a booth or one of the trade shows. Pretty much everyone who's got cameras on at least. Okay, very good, great. So let me share my screen here and we can get started. So basically, it's myself and Kimin. Kimin is he's our solutions engineer, so he's going to really dive in to actually show you the product. So I'm just going to kind of at the beginning here go over a little bit of why having backup is important in the cloud. So we'll get through that here. Just to kind of introduce myself, my name is Geoff Hamilton. I cover the Iowa region here at Own Backup. And so our topic today, maintaining business continuity during uncertain times. And we will be raffling off a pair of AirPods. So at the end, we're going to post a landing page in the chat and you guys can sign up there. So stay tuned for that.
Hey, Jeff, just real quick, your presenter notes are showing, so you might want to take a look at that. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see what we can do here about trying that again. I've been struggling. I know you were mentioning Google. You guys still see my presenter notes here?
Yeah.
Geez. All right.
You're making me feel better, so I appreciate it.
I don't. If anyone has a suggestion how to get rid of those, I suppose I could just kind of try and wing it without them, or just read at the bottom of the screen maybe. But yeah, we ran through this a bunch of times and it was fine, but now it seems to be a problem. Maybe I'll just try refreshing once and then let's see if we can do better. Oh, you know what? I'm sharing my screen. Maybe if I share the window, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think because that's what I did last time. Sometimes I slip up, but let me try this again. I apologize. All right, how is that?
Yeah, it's
great.
great.
There we go. Perfect.
All right. Yeah, I don't want to. Okay, perfect. So my background, I actually used to be a Salesforce admin. So I used to attend events like this as an admin. This was a while ago, back in 2008 through 2012. I was certified at Dreamforce in 2011. But since I transitioned over to the sales side, so I worked at a few different AppExchange partners. I was at Form Assembly. I was at an integration partner called Workato. And now today, I'm very happy to be representing the number 2 AppExchange product, Own Backup, second to DocuSign in 2020 on the AppExchange. And with me today, we got Kimin. Kimin's a total rock star, one of our solutions engineers, and he's going to do a short demo. So he'll help tie in some of what we're talking about today and be able to kind of answer some of the more technical questions if they might come up.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Yeah, my name's Kim Kirkpatrick. I'm a solutions engineer here at Own Backup. Now, prior to Own Backup, I was a Salesforce admin, solo admin, then I was a product owner, and then I transitioned into Salesforce consulting. And then I jumped into Own Backup, where I'm really, really happy to be here. In my time as an admin and a consultant, I was also an Own Backup customer. So I'm excited to show you the platform today. Really, it is our goal to give you a better understanding about why companies need a disaster recovery service in the first place. And we're going to give you some knowledge to think about as it pertains to your own internal strategy. So let's go ahead and dive in.
So let's start with the obvious. We're living in a different world than we were a year ago. And in this COVID environment, enterprise cloud technology is at the forefront of keeping many businesses operating. And this new work from home reality really highlights the value of being on a SaaS platform like Salesforce. So to set the stage, let's take a quick look at what we mean by business continuity and why having a recovery strategy should be a part of any modern business. Typically, this strategy is going to be set from the CIO down, and it's designed to answer one simple question: what steps can we take today so that when the inevitable occurs, we can return to business as quickly as possible? What are some of the ways business disruptions occur, Kim?
Yeah, Jeff, the unfortunate reality is that there are a ton of factors that can cause a disruption without warning. So aside from global pandemics, companies really should plan for other unpredictable events like adverse weather, Austin, Texas, natural disasters, system failures, and other things like cyber crimes. But the one thing that each one of these disruptors has in common is that we know that they are going to happen. We just don't know when. And that's why one of the most crucial components of a business continuity plan is data protection. Okay, I'll let you ingest this slide for a second. So to lighten the topic just a bit, one important thing to keep in mind is that the vast majority of data loss and data corruption issues, they're not tied to worldwide or criminal events, and you're never going to see this headline. But simple mistakes by humans do happen each and every day. And really, while no company can prevent them, they can certainly anticipate that they're going to happen and have a plan for how to recover.
So what are these everyday events that you need to prepare for? So number one is human error. Over half the time, data incidents are caused by human error. This is often a result of having too many cooks in the kitchen, like leading to data loss, corruption. Many of these scenarios, they can go unnoticed for days or weeks. And bad code would be number two. So if you have poorly tested code or lack of a relevant test data as you're testing in your sandboxes, this can really cause corruption of your data and metadata as well when you do release those changes into production. Integration errors, super common. I used to work at an integration partner, as I mentioned, and these integration errors can happen when you start to enrich your Salesforce platform by integrating other systems and applications. I do have an example from a customer of ours who last year was implementing SSO, and all of a sudden, every single username and password in Salesforce got changed, locking every single user out and unable to reset their password. I mean, what a nightmare, right? But fortunately, the admins there, they actually had own backup and were able to get back in within 15 minutes. So it was really kind of just a blip on the radar screen from a user standpoint. Migration errors, migrations always have very real data risks, and malicious intent. This one's rare, but also can be extremely high impact. We had a customer who was doing a POC in process of purchasing own backup, and they actually implemented own backup only to realize that two of their sales reps were deleting opportunities to manipulate their variable comp because they were improving their close rates by deleting these opportunities. So maybe your sales reps don't have permissions to delete opportunities, but what if they go in and start changing names and phone numbers of key contacts before they get fired? Even with strict governance and change management policies, this stuff really can happen. And when these problems occur, there's a quantifiable impact that extends to employees. Things like sales or service teams who are unable to perform their jobs until data is restored. Without the account or sales data, how do we move opportunities forward? Send quotes, process a contract. While your sales and service teams are waiting days or weeks for an admin to recover the data from a CSV file, what is the potential impact on revenue? And if the customer service team can't see the customer's cases or account history, most of customer services KPIs are going to be impacted as well, resulting in brand damage or maybe even compliance fines. So to protect against these everyday events and the impact that they cause to your business, Salesforce customers should remember that there is a shared data protection responsibility, and customers must protect the data in their Salesforce org. You don't have to take this from us. This is actually what Salesforce says themselves. They do strongly encourage you to use a third-party solution like Own Backup to safeguard your data.
Well, to better understand the reality out there, every year at Dreamforce, Own Backup surveys over 2,000 Salesforce customers, and some of the results can be extremely frightening when you consider what's at stake. Now, even under normal circumstances, almost 1/3 of all Salesforce customers have experienced some sort of data loss or some sort of corruption, and having a distributed workforce is certainly compounding that issue today. So it's especially worrying that, according to our most recent survey, over 50% of businesses aren't backing up their Salesforce data at all. And of those who do have some sort of backup in place, less than 15% are able to easily recover that data, meaning the vast majority are at best using the weekly data export or some other custom database backup. As we've discussed, it can take days, weeks to recover from such an incident using those types of tools. Now, we're all working from home and we have remote access to data, and this really changes how we engage with our data. The risks are multiplied. This, coupled with Salesforce retiring their data recovery service, there's never been a more important time to put your business continuity plans in place.
So what should companies consider when optimizing their Salesforce backup and recovery strategy? There's really 6 critical questions when it comes to considering your recovery strategy, and these are foundational concepts to the way that we've designed the Own Backup product over time. So RPO, your recovery point objective, is the point from which you are able to restore your data. So how much data are you prepared to lose before your business is impacted? If you're using the weekly exports, your RPO would be 7 days, meaning you could lose up to a week's worth of data if the loss occurred just before you downloaded your latest export. And many companies dealing with high volume customer service, like finance, insurance, healthcare companies, they're going to need an RPO, maybe very short, like 15 minutes or 5 minutes, so that they don't lose critical data. RTO, your recovery time objective, is how quickly you need to recover. If your data is business critical, then you'll likely want to recover as fast as possible to minimize the business impact. So for some industries, even being down 2 or 3 hours can cost millions. Data integrity. Can you recover your data from every point in time, whether that's yesterday or 6 months ago? Or are the backups overwriting every so often? You should back up everything and retain all those backups for as long as you're going to need them. Security. We're backing up all your Salesforce data, so of course, the platform needs to be at least as secure as Salesforce itself. Reliability. It's important that your backup is automated and available to restore when you need it the most. You wouldn't want to have someone be out sick one day, the backup doesn't happen, and then you have a data loss the next day, and all of a sudden all that data is lost. Even when you change your data structures in Salesforce, it's important to know your data backups are running reliably. Accessibility. Even if you can't get into Salesforce, you need to be able to access your backups. So it's important that the data is accessible from outside Salesforce. And this is just a basic best practice. Like, we use the analogy, you wouldn't want to put your spare car keys in the glove box of your car. At Own Backup, these 6 foundational things are really built into the recovery platform. So now that your eyes are all glazed over like Krispy Kreme donuts, let's pass the screen share over to Kim so he can show you how the product works.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. Do appreciate it. All right. Can everybody see the Own Backup website? Just give me a thumbs up. Okay, great. Excellent. All right. Well, again, Kim Kirkpatrick, Solutions Engineer here at Own Backup. What I want to do today is walk through a data loss scenario. Before we do that, I want to just point out that Own Backup is an external web app, and it connects to your Salesforce instances via OAuth. What's that really mean? That means there's nothing to download, there's nothing to install, and you're keeping your backup securely outside of Salesforce, which really is a best practice. So again, if Salesforce had an outage, you'd have your data and your metadata accessible. All right. So when you log into Own Backup, you get this nice holistic view of your Salesforce orgs in a single pane of glass. We do 2 backups for each org. One's for data, and this is all your accounts, your contacts, your opportunities, your quotes, all the data in your system. And we do one for metadata, and this is your configuration, your code, your reports, your dashboards, your profiles, all the work that you as an admin and your team are doing on a daily basis. We're capturing that here. With Own Backup, you can connect your production orgs, your sandboxes. Say you get a new dev org, or you acquire a new company, you can begin to back that up almost immediately. There's no limit on storage. There's no limit on the number of Salesforce environments, and your retention is customizable. So you never really have to worry about losing your data or running out of space for your backups. So again, we're going to walk through a data loss scenario. Let's pretend that the VP of Sales Slack you first thing in the morning and says, hey, something's not right. We're missing accounts. We're missing contacts. Oh, our opportunities, our dashboards, everything's messed up. It's quarter end. I'm freaking out. Would you please help me? Okay, normally an admin without own backups probably going to look at if they have the weekly exports, run some reports, talk to end users, kind of poke around, try to figure out and repiece this whole thing together. I've been there. I know what that pain feels like, but I'm going to show you today what it looks like when you have own backup in place. Now, own backup, we do it automatic backup every 24 hours, and you can set that time of your choosing, but let's pretend that your backups are running at midnight. And the first thing in the morning, you log into your email, and right off the bat, you get this alert.
My email got own backup.
And this alert tells you, hey, there were 100 accounts deleted. Oh, there were 700 accounts deleted as well, or accounts or contacts that were deleted as well. What's that all about? Well, you can go to Own Backup, click into your production data, and the first thing you see are these green check marks. And what that means is that, hey, your latest backup succeeded, as well as your most recent backups. But I really want to drill down and show you this visual graph. Now, this visual graph is one of my favorite parts of the tool because it allows you to really zero in and identify those additions, those changes and deletions to your Salesforce data. I will pause here just very quickly. We've also kept the user experience consistent across both backup types. So what you're seeing on the data side, you'll also see on the metadata side. So here on the left, you can toggle through your standard and custom objects. Now, this is anything in your system that you have, you can toggle through them and see the same type of representation. We're going to focus on accounts today. Here you can toggle through a date range. We'll just set it for the last 7 days. You can toggle through what's been added, what's been changed, and what's been removed. And lo and behold, you had a data loss and you just had confirmation of that. So you click on this little dot here, and what it's going to do is going to take you into your data snapshot. Now, what's a snapshot? Snapshot is essentially a point in time where we took a backup, and it shows you the difference between this snapshot and the previous one. On the left, you have a listing of all your standard and custom objects. You have the number of records here. I want to draw your attention to what's been removed, changed, and added. And here you see those 100 accounts. Oh, that's curious. Why did that happen? But what are all these numbers below here? So we've got a 79, we've got sub-accounts, we've got a whole bunch of stuff here. So I know as an admin that accounts are the master detail, the master detail relationship for contacts and opportunities and other objects. So essentially when you delete an account, it's going to also delete those child records. So maybe some of these deletions were legitimate, maybe not, but we'll get to that assessment phase. So far we've identified a data loss, and now we're assessing that data loss. I also want to draw your attention to this account project plan here. These have a lookup relationship to accounts. So what that means is when those accounts got deleted, it didn't delete these out of the system, but it did orphan them. So they're just floating in Salesforce, not doing you any good, they're not providing no context, and it's just basically dead data. So I know we have a problem. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and begin the restoration process to understand what the complete damage is. So I click this little backwards arrow here. And once I do that, once I begin that restore button, Own Backup begins to stitch all those relationships together and basically do all that heavy lifting that you as an admin would probably do with your CSVs, your VLOOKUPs, probably several pots of coffee to keep you going. What it's doing is reestablishing those relationships in the background. And once it's done processing, Own Backup gives you this nice confirmation screen that shows you exactly what it's going to restore. Here you see that cascade delete in full effect. You've got those 100 accounts, but you have all these sub-accounts here. You have files, you have chatter, here are those account project plans. Those are going to be reassociated. Those were orphaned. You have all your contact records. In some, just for the 100 accounts that were deleted, there were almost 3,000 records that got deleted out of the system as a result. One of the cool things about this screen here is it also gives you command and control over what you're going to restore. So say, for instance, you move projects out of Salesforce into some other platform, and you don't care about this object anymore. You can simply uncheck this box. Own Backup's going to recalculate the restoration, and then it's going to restore everything but. you also have the ability to filter this way. So you can click one of these here little cogs. You can download a CSV, amend that file to just the records that you want. Say you don't want to restore a certain record type. You can choose that file, upload it here, and then again, Own Backup's going to recalculate it and then restore everything. But if you're fancy, you can do a SQL where clause here and isolate the records that you want right there. But I'm good to go. I love what I'm about to restore, so I click Start Restore. And then once it's done, it gives you this nice confirmation screen that shows you, hey, exactly what was restored in your system. So you have all those almost 3,000 records that got recovered into your Salesforce environment. And down below, you have those orphan records that were reassociated as well. So in a matter of minutes, we've been notified of a data loss. We've identified what it was. We've assessed the damage, and we've restored that data to the previous state in Salesforce. Okay, so that's data loss. So the next thing that I saw when I was an admin, when I was a consultant, was data corruption. Okay, so I saw integrations and migrations go completely sideways, but mainly it was human error that caused that data corruption. Case in point, when I was an admin, we were integrating with our ERP. And if anybody knows what an AS400 is, I give you kudos because it's an old school platform. But anyway, we were integrating with our ERP. And for some reason, somebody swapped the mapping on a few fields and ended up overwriting thousands of key fields on our contact records. Normally, this would give me a bit of a heart attack and a bit of a pause, but I had Own Backup. So I took a snapshot before we pulled the integration and after. And then what I did was I was able to go to this data compare here. And again, consistency across backup types. So we have data and metadata, same basic process. So we click the data compare and we choose the production data. And then I know I was just working with contacts, but you can choose any of your objects here. So I'll choose contacts. And then I'm going to choose 2 points in time. So we'll say pre-integration and post-integration. I click compare. And what it's going to do, again, it's going to compare those 2 moments in time. And when it's done, I get this nice confirmation screen that shows me exactly what changed on that object between those 2 points in time. So I see here that, oh, 939 contact records changed. So I want to see, I'm a good admin, I want to see what's going on. I click that 939, and what it does, it brings up this nice in-app viewer that shows me in detail those field level changes for context between those 2 moments in time. Any column that has a dot in it means there was a change. So a green dot is before, purple's after. As an admin, I can just toggle through this change, and lo and behold, hey, the mailing city got swapped with the postal code, and the postal code got swapped with the mailing city. Could be pretty disruptive if I didn't have a backup solution and a restoration solution, but I have Own Backup. So again, I can simply click this here little backwards arrow. It's going to go through that pre-process job, and it's going to then allow me and give me the opportunity to filter out certain records. Say if I know that, hey, some of these contact records were legitimately changed, I'm able to isolate them, recalculate my backup, and be up and running in just a few minutes. You know, Own Backup has a ton of functionality out of the box. These are just 2 basic use cases, but you know, there's so much more to Own Backup here, and I really appreciate your time and letting me show you this platform. So Geoffrey, back over to you.
All right. So just to kind of wrap things up here. Oops, I think I did the same screen share thing with the full screen again. So let's, all right. Okay. So hope that gave you a glimpse of what Own Backup can offer you. We're here to help with a simple, scalable, secure platform and an expert team of customer success and support specialists to help you along the way. And speaking of our support team, you know, check out our App Exchange reviews, because you're going to find that you'll be able to name every single person on our support team just by reading through maybe the first couple pages of our App Exchange reviews. Our support team gets a lot of kudos, very highly rated. We have over 300 5-star reviews. Data is the fuel that drives business automation, and protecting data is one of the keys to ensuring that your company is going to be able to continue to operate when unforeseen events happen. Beyond this, data being one of our most valuable assets has the power to unlock decision-making through analytics, to connect the business through integration. So it's clear to see that protecting your data and having a proper data governance strategy is a key consideration in achieving your digital transformation strategy. Also, we've been talking about recovery today, but we also offer solutions for seeding test data into sandboxes to speed up your development cycles and archiving old data that's bloating your Salesforce. So with that, let me post this raffle link in the sign up, this raffle sign up link in the chat. And while you're signing up, I'm going to open up the field to any questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Geoffrey and Kimmin. Anybody have questions for them?
I have a question. So we have Own Backup, and I was wondering if there's anywhere that when it backs up as far as the fields, sort of the metadata on the fields itself, so like the description fields and the help text fields on those fields, if that's also included somewhere in some sort of export functionality.
That's a great question. I don't have that specifically in my brain right now, but I can take a note, and if you want to post your name in the chat, I can send you a notice on that. But we do back up every piece of metadata from A to Z.
Tanner, we can talk about this too. I think what you got to do is grab the XML of that metadata and open it up in Visual Studio Code. I can help you with that.
Excellent.
Anybody else have questions?
All right.
I do have a real quick question. You kind of went real quick over what some of your other services are, but
Sure.
do you have currently something in place to help aid in the document retention?
So when you say document retention, what exactly do you mean? Obviously, you mean
in
Salesforce, but when you say retention,
yeah. So what I basically mean is trying to get a retention policy basically put in place so that future me doesn't have to worry about once we scale up some of the things that we're trying to do, and down the line that we can basically put something in place where we can have some indicator on records that they've met a certain criteria, and so we maintain the records that we need, but with, as far as compliance goes, if somebody opts out, once, we start looking at things that are, around like GDRP and things like that, we are able to automate the process of removing those records.
Sure. Yeah. So we do have, there's two separate things in there actually, but we have an archiving product, and basically it gives you very robust capabilities around the criteria that you set for what records get archived. And then it has a visual force page that you can put onto your object layouts so that the archived data can be viewed from that visual force page, but without having it clog up your data log. And also for files, you can basically click into the files from within that visual force page as well. So, if you have data retention requirements, this will allow you to meet those requirements for compliance purposes. But, once you have a certain amount of data in Salesforce, it's going to slow it up. It's going to slow up every single page load as you're loading up all those related objects. And of course, data is also expensive in Salesforce. So we could definitely help you with that. And with regard to GDPR and other regulations, within the platform, we actually have the ability to basically put in those GDPR requests, and it will instantly kind of mask the data for that particular person from your backups. So, obviously a lot of requirements around backup do require that these backups are immutable, but you also don't want to be able to access that data or don't want to accidentally access that data. And so, the platform kind of takes care of that. We have a whole section, actually, you can see in the screenshot here, GDPR subject requests. So that's where you can kind of put those requests in to mask that data as well. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.